Hey guys, welcome to the POS Podcast. Today everybody's here. Hooray!
We
Hey.
did it.
Yeah.
Avengers Assemble.
Which is
We-
funny because I was this close to saying, Paley, I'm gonna go see the Civil War while y'all do this. I was that close. And then I thought, no, I wouldn't want to hang out with Jim, so never mind.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
I
I want to hang out with you too.
Shh, Tom, quiet. Jim's talking. What was that, Jim?
So, how was everybody's week?
I love you, Tom.
Pretty good.
You made a new video that was very different.
Oh, me? Yes,
Yeah.
I did. My new show called Deep Focus, and I talk about film issues, and it's once a month because I like to do lots of research. So the next one will be in a month, and the first one was did Disney hold back animated features? So check those things out. Check it out. It's on my channel. That was a bad plug, but it's there.
What's the next one about?
I'm not gonna say that. I like it to be.
Yeah,
I like to surprise people.
Let it be a surprise.
I mean, there's a couple. I have a bunch of ideas, and there's other people I'm helping write with, but I'm the boss, I guess. Not really, but
Can you give us a hint?
it'll be about movies.
Oh.
Hey. He's so
That's-
generous.
That's so bad as far as I'm
All right, guys, we're narrowing it down.
We'll get
It's
there
about
eventually.
movies with people in them.
Saber, well, you
Zootopia's not gonna be it, and I knew it.
Saber, you like hit another huge spike in views.
Yeah,
Like
I was-
you got 1 million views in a week.
Whoa!
It was neat.
Yeah.
Damn, it's like I'm friends with Kanye West.
How dare you?
Okay, sorry.
Jim, that's uncalled
like-
for.
It's like I'm friends with other successful musicians.
It's better than Kanye. I'll take it.
Okay.
Yeah, you made your Powerpuff Girls video because we both kind of started to come up with the concept of our videos from the same time. But I went out of town for San Francisco, and you released yours, and I'm like, "Hey, Paley, you cool with me doing mine?" You're like, yeah. So I released mine, and I was expecting it to do okay, but I was not ever expecting it to even like catch up with yours, let alone surpass it, which I was very surprised at. And I don't by any means say that in a braggy way. I don't care. I'm just happy to see anyone watch it. But it was like, oh, cool. Like, this is a topic that people feel passionate about. And I hope that Samurai Jack gets the same attention for good reasons, hopefully, when it comes out. I hope to see the exact same crowd show up for Ghostbusters so we can flame its corpse and get some views from that too, guys. Someone's got to benefit, and the vultures are us.
Well, look, we haven't seen that movie. Could be good.
Jim,
No,
stop
I
it.
can't.
Jim, stop it.
Well, can I tell you though? I recently learned that movie, the trailer where it's like 30 years ago, these guys saved a city. That's not in the new Ghostbusters. Like, it's a total reboot. Like, they don't even. It's
Yeah.
like the original Ghostbusters.
I know. I'm not arguing against that. I'm just saying I'm sure it's not going to be good.
I'm gonna look. I like Paul Feig. He created Freaks and Geeks. He directed Bridesmaids, The Heat, and Spy, all of which I liked. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt until I see the movie.
Everybody has a slip up sometime.
That's true. Look, is it looking good right now? Absolutely not. Is everybody probably thinking I am crazy? Absolutely. But I'm gonna hold out until I see the movie, which I think is fair. I think is fair because there's a lot of good movies that have bad trailers. I'm just saying. But it doesn't look good.
What's a bad movie that had really a great trailer and it was like, oh,
Damn it, Saber.
Avatar, The Last Airbender.
okay,
Oh
okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you
that's
remember
a
that?
good point.
Remember that first teaser where he's like training up on the fucking cliff, and then all the fucking ships come in, and the music kicks in, and you get like an instant boner. You're like, "This is gonna be great!" And then you watch it, and you're just like, "Oh."
I can name one for you, Tom. Godzilla, 2014.
Oh yeah,
So-
that's true.
Yeah.
That trailer was
It
way better
sounds
than
so
the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that first trailer, you're like, holy shit, this is going to be amazing. And then But you almost forgot, like, wait, Americans doing Godzilla, that kind of takes the point away. Oh, shit.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on me more.
I mean, hey, it wasn't as bad as the 90s one.
There was more Godzilla in the 90s one.
Damn it, you're right. But there was less Puff Daddy in the newer one, I think.
That's a negative.
So you wanted
Daddy, one of the villains.
I forgot Tom's a huge Puff Daddy fan.
Yeah, come on.
I'm surprised half his reviews aren't like now I want to talk about Puff Daddy's seminal album from 2005. I'm assuming he made one then. I don't know.
I think he was dead. No, that's Biggie Smalls I'm thinking of. Never mind.
Oh god.
Jesus.
I was
Man with 130,000 subs over here.
doing
140,000.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
We're not friends anymore.
It's weird. Like, some of my coworkers get like, oh my god, celebrity. I'm like, I'm not. I'm just an idiot. And I've been telling them for a long time. I think it's finally getting through their heads. Because today we're talking about a coworker who we hired, and he's kind of sucky right now. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if he has the. I don't think I really care for him. He's not much of a team player. And Joel, one of the guys I'm working with, goes, well, in all fairness, Stephen, when we started working with you, we all thought you were an idiot. And I'm like, were? You all just started to let me get into your hearts, whatever. But, yeah, I don't know. Look at all those A-list celebrities who are like, why? Like, out of all the big celebrities, who do y'all think is the most, like, retarded? I'm just gonna say it. Who do you think is the most retarded?
Oh, who's
Kanye
the
West?
dumbest?
Like, the one where, like, you don't deserve it, or any fool could have done this.
Oh, Ashton Kutcher.
It's because he punked you too many times, wasn't
No,
it?
I just never got, like, I get how he got to be on that 70s show, but I never got when he had that huge, when he's like really big and how people still respect him. I'm like, really? I mean, I don't get it. Has he ever been good in anything other than that 70s show?
I don't think so. You know who? I don't know why, but Ashton Kutcher made me think of, for some reason, Jackass, and to which it made me think of Wee Man. Okay, he's kind of a guy who I'm like, I mean, he's no by any means an A-list celebrity, but we need a little person who can beat up. All right, you fit. Literally. Go on.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm trying to think of if there's anyone else I could. They have to be someone who like really has like no talent. I don't know.
Kardashians.
But yeah, but that's like easy. You know?
Exactly. Oh, I was at the gym yesterday. I was on the treadmill, and these girls had, like, the TVs are right in front of the treadmills, and they were blaring Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Is that
like,
why they were on the treadmill? Because they had to keep up with them?
Wow.
That's good. You know what? I'm surprised. This is the first time I've heard that joke. You deserve something for that. That's good. That's good.
I wish they would call it like, can you keep up with, or
can you keep up with them?
I'm trying to make a KKK joke, but it's not working right now, so never mind.
Well, that's why they don't do Keeping Up with Kim Kardashian, because then it would be.
They're like, we're not that offensive. They walk into them as a giant swastika on like their like being draped across the TV. Oh, whatever, guys. What's going on in the news, Paleo?
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
we're going to a weird place.
yeah, well, the first thing I have on the list is Civil War. So if you want to leave right now,
Do we want to do other stuff before Civil War, or do we just?
we'll go ahead and get Civil War out of the way.
Oh, here. Well, before we go on, I have a story for you. So when I was at work today,
Okay.
I know this is interesting. I kind of missed it, but I got to hear about it. We've been doing this frappy hour for Starbucks from like 1 to 5. Frappuccinos are half off, so Americans.
Frappuccinos.
Yeah.
I was worried for a second.
How much do you want on it? But I can only do this 2 more times. I gotta rest for a few hours. But
It's not really. It's not really an hour. It's more like a good 20 minutes.
I can make a small one very quickly, but you have to wait a bit for anything else. But besides masturbating to people's drinks, the I was I was making the drinks, and there was some. It got busy, and there's this older lady who looked to be somewhat of a cougar. I gave her latte. I'm like, have a good day. And she's like, oh, thank you. And she started walking out of the store. And I was finally finishing just this round of drinks because I had about maybe a dozen or so to make. And then I hear some screaming outside. And my coworker is like, uh-oh, I might have to intervene here. And I see him walk towards the door. And there are these 3 girls sitting at a table screaming at the lady who walked out the door with the latte. And I see them all like giving the finger, screaming at each other. I'm like, what's going on? Because I'm kind of still multitasking. So I'm like, kind of seeing what's happening. And I look down at the right time because apparently they go, oh my God, she flashed them. I'm like, what?
She did what?
The old lady, she went whoosh, like that to them.
What? I don't understand.
No, neither do I. So my coworker went out there after things cooled off and said, what happened? And the girls at the table said, we don't know. We think we were kind of looking at her general direction, but not at her when she was walking out. And I guess the lady thought that they were talking about her, and she got super angry and started screaming at them and flicking them off, to which then they replied in kind. And then they had a shouting fight, finger flipping fight, and then she flashed him and walked away to her car and left.
The fuck?
And my shift supervisor comes running out in the back. He's like, I took my break at the wrong time. So, yeah. I thought that was interesting. Weirdness at the Starbucks. So,
right.
What's going on in the news besides the Civil War?
Okay, yeah, we'll do Civil War last since there's people in the chat who haven't seen it yet. So we'll do that last, and depending on how much time we have left, we might not do a Q&A. So,
really? How long of an episode do you think? Or
yeah,
that much?
Depending on how long we talk about Civil War when we do get to it. But the first thing is whoops, didn't remove my things. The first thing is Ratchet and Clank came out and it bombed.
Oh yeah,
It did bomb.
Didn't. Yeah, it did. It did.
Yeah.
I was gonna be like, hey, it's not doing. I mean, it's not doing terribly considering it only costs what, 20?
Yeah, only 20 million to make, which is not a lot compared to other animated films.
No, it is. It was made for a small budget, but it is kind of hanging on for its dear life. It's at number 9, which, yeah, it bombed. Who am I kidding? Why am I trying to? It bombed.
Breathe, damn you!
Why? What? But yeah, it is kind of like the beginning of the video game movie summer that we're about to hit. But I don't think anyone expected it to have that much of an impact. So
yeah, the thing is, like, this movie was delayed like 2 times. And I'm not sure why. Maybe because to coincide with the game that was coming out with it. But the thing is, like, the game came out before the movie, so it's really weird.
I mean, I don't think there was a weekend where it would have done better, which is kind of the problem, because it's not. I mean, the movie's not great, because my thing with the movie as someone who's never played the game and was not familiar with these characters was that it didn't really invite me in. It felt like more like if I knew who they were, I would have been more into it. But like that's not great for a movie. Like Iron Man, for example, is a movie where I didn't really like Iron Man. Like I liked him okay, but I wasn't that into him before. And then after the movie, I was like, I love Iron Man, and like that's really what a good adaptation should do. Yeah. And this one just did not do that. But I mean, I'm curious more like what you guys think, because I think you're more familiar with the game.
Yeah. I've played like the first 2, but apparently this the new game and the movie is like a retelling of the first game, and it's like completely different. Like it has some of the same points, but it's different in the way it tells it. As far as like how Ratchet and Clank meet up, they seem different from what I remember. It's been a long time since I've played the first two games. Like,
Isn't that like the biggest problem with this movie is that like nobody gives a fuck about Ratchet and Clank anymore?
yeah, I mean, the thing is like Ratchet and Clank, they've had games like consistently for the past decade or so, or more than a decade, and this new game was actually the fastest selling game in the franchise. So there's interest in the games. So I don't know, like, I guess people just don't care about it being a movie.
Or will this do better on like when it gets released on home video or DVD and all
Maybe.
that?
I just thought the trailers were terrible. Like
Yeah,
I
well,
like
yeah.
Ratchet and Clank, but like every time it said the asteroid pun, I just wanted to like blow my brains out. Like on principle, I was not going to go see it just for that line.
Well,
I think I upset Jim. I brought up the asteroid pun, he just left.
oh my god.
His father was killed by an asteroid.
Oh, well. We're all going to be killed by an asteroid someday.
Whoa, that was deep.
Yeah.
So was.
Deep impact.
Ooh,
Huh,
good
wow.
one.
Is there a porno called that? Hold on.
If anything, I'd
And-
probably say just play this collection
Mhm.
because those are like the first three games are really good. And like I said in my review, I've heard that the third one is like the best one, though I haven't played that one yet. So anyway,
Just play the games.
play the games because they're really fun.
Always.
All right, next thing. Since Jim hasn't seen Keanu, and I guess neither of you have seen Keanu, I'll just skip that.
I mean, we could just talk about Keanu Reeves in general.
He is
Isn't
a
he,
good.
isn't he
guy.
awesome? Who doesn't like him?
I heard he gave a lot of his money from the Matrix to the team who like did the special effects, and
That's
that
true.
he had a pretty rough history like, with his family and loss, but he's an overall very genuine, kind, and generous person. I think that's great.
And John Wick's pretty cool.
I
Alright.
like that.
Next thing. This is I think this is something that that Jim will find very interesting.
I will. What is it?
Apparently TCM and Criterion are teaming up to make a streaming service for classic movies.
Oh, I didn't know we were going to talk about this. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I tweeted them right when it got announced. I was like, yeah, I'm signing up right when I can.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, and they actually tweeted back at me, which was a surprise to me. But I guess since it doesn't come out until the fall
Yeah, like August, I think is.
or
when
August
they're-
or
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
So that's sooner than I thought it was going to be.
I mean, the things I like about it is that TCM has really great programmers, and the cool thing about them is if you have a DVR and Turner Classic Movies, it's probably the greatest experience because you can just look through their schedule and find like weird cult movies and classics you've never seen and things like that. But also, if you're like someone like me who wants a more obscure thing by a certain director, they'll play it at like 4 a.m. when no one's watching, but you can DVR it and watch it later. So my thing with Filmstruck, my concern, since I haven't seen it yet, is that the Criterion stuff I'm sure will be fine, but the two things I really want, or the couple things I want from it, I guess, are them to still have TCM Underground, which is their cult movie show on Saturday nights, which is, if you ever want to get into cult movies, just start DVRing or watching TCM Underground. I want them to have that. I want them to have the Essentials, which is if you want to watch just all the great movies and you have cable, it's a show every Saturday night at 8. They play what are considered essential movies. So after you've watched a bunch of them, you'll be like, oh shit, I know a lot about film because I've seen all the big movies because they do this every Saturday and it's awesome. And the third thing was that they have obscure weird stuff. Those are kind of my things. If they have those, I think it'll be great. But I'm just apprehensive because they haven't released like any info about what's going to be on it, but I'm very for it, and regardless, I'm probably going to sign up the day you can. So
Yeah, I'm probably going to sign up for it too because the problem with a lot of streaming services like Amazon Prime and Netflix is that they don't have a lot of classic movies on it.
No, they
and
don't.
like most of it is just stuff from the past couple decades.
yeah,
So-
I think that'll be really good for streaming. I've noticed these kind of more I guess not genre streaming services or like Shudder, where it's like more niche. I guess streaming
Yeah.
services are starting to pop up. And
Yeah,
I
like
think that'll be.
Crunchyroll is one because Crunchyroll is one for anime.
Oh, that's true. Crunchyroll, yeah. So
Yeah.
Crunchyroll or Shudder, and I've noticed those are popping up, and I think classic movie fans kind of need this. But I am worried that that takes away from the experience of like TCM. If you just had cable, you get to watch classic films
Yeah.
anytime you want,
The
and
the thing
unless
is
you're
like
what?
well, like with me, I don't really watch cable anymore.
Yeah,
So like the fact that they're doing this is great for me because that means I can watch it at any time I want.
yeah. So,
So
well, I
because I
hope.
don't really use my DVR at all.
Yeah, I the only thing I really hope with them is I hope they recommend a classic or a really good movie to people who are subscribing, because I think if you don't really know a lot about classic film, it might be harder to go in, and it might be
Yeah.
cool if they're just like, hey, have you ever seen M, or have you ever
Yeah.
seen like uh Random Harvest or something like that, because that's what I loved about that channel is they would turn me on to different stuff. So if they
Mm.
curate it well, I think it'd be awesome. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But I'm for it as of right now. I just want to see it. It's like communism. It's right now. It's just good in theory.
Whoop. All right. Next thing. Apparently the Nintendo NX is going to be launching in March, along with the new Zelda, which is
NX.
Hmm?
Then is that the new console or something?
yeah.
Yeah.
What? Oh, let me
Yeah,
see this
because
again.
a lot of people thought it was going to be this year, but I've always said that I wouldn't think they would release it that soon. But still, March 2017 does seem a little soon, and I'm going to bet they're probably going to delay it to release it for holidays because, as far as like
Because Nintendo.
yeah, because Nintendo and also because like spring launches
So
are
is the
really
Wii-
weird.
That's weird. Is the Wii U kind of considered a failure then, or where
It's
does this?
people have been calling it a failure for a while.
Yeah,
I mean, it has some good titles, but it's just never caught on.
yeah,
Like,
it just didn't really catch on with the public, and the main thing I think that really detracted from people buying it is just the name. The name alone is like a lot of people just don't get.
I if I understand it, and even then, I still hesitate to think it's just like almost like the Wii U plus something else. Like I get Xbox 360, Xbox One, even though those are
Xbox
kind of
One.
what is
I mean,
it called
the
Xbox
name
One?
for that is really weird, but
Yeah, but
people still bought it, which is
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
saying the Wii U felt even more so. I'm like, is this like an add-on, like, or what is this? I don't know. It didn't feel like a new generation of console. It just felt
I
more
just
like
felt
a.
like the Wii U as an idea just completely took the wind out of the sails of like this innovative new Nintendo that they brought with the Wii. Because like if you remember back to like 2003, 2004, when like they first announced the Revolution, which eventually became the Wii, and people were like, "What's the fucking controller gonna be?" They say it's like totally crazy, and like the DS had just come out, and like
Yeah.
people were doing mock-ups like it's gonna have a gyroscope and a touchscreen like the DS, and it's gonna be crazy. And then they didn't do that. It was the Wiimote. It was amazing. And then this year, like for the next system, they're like it's gonna have a gyroscope and a touchscreen like a DS. Like so they took like the obvious stupid ideas that all the journalists were coming up with and made it their actual sequel console. It was stupid. It was
Well,
a
what
terrible
makes
idea.
question? Do you feel that technology is like not advancing far enough to justify a new console cycle?
Actually, I was gonna bring this up because Sony said that they probably won't do a PS5 and that they'll just keep making new iterations of the PS4.
So it's a PC now, literally.
Yeah.
Like it's so everyone just joined the PC master race. Consoles are a joke. We're done.
Like
We're all it's like, that's hilarious. You get computers and consoles, and there's just computers who don't have like, wait, we're computers now.
Well, they're all. It's the funny thing is that like there's no excuse not to have a PC port of every single game coming out on these consoles because they're all running PC hardware.
yeah.
It's x86 CPUs. They're made by AMD. It's all the same guts. Like there's like zero effort in porting a game. It's
just-
just for exclusives now.
Just
like,
want
yeah.
Halo on my computer. If I had Halo on my computer, I'd play it in a heartbeat.
It's so
the
dumb.
only one that has like true exclusives are like Nintendo's consoles, but Sony does have a few exclusives that are just on PlayStation platforms.
Right.
But
It's your first party
yeah.
studios are the only things providing.
but
exclusive
I
content.
don't know what Xbox is doing because everything they have is also on
Don't
Windows.
neither do
It's
they.
not though, because they're not releasing Halo on Windows because
Yeah.
obviously.
But that's only
And-
Halo.
Well, I mean, Halo's a big name for them.
Yeah.
Like that's their big thing.
That's what saved the Xbox, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I mean,
it was Halo, right?
Halo was the first game that really launched Xbox and made it like a popular brand. But like it's weird because like the consoles right now, like we were definitely overdue for new hardware. I think the PS3 and the 360 were definitely like showing their age.
Yeah.
But
But they didn't wait long enough, I don't think.
it's not even that they didn't wait long enough. It's that when they released them, it wasn't a significant enough upgrade. These systems, like, all right, when the 360 and the PS3 came out, no one had HD TVs. It wasn't
Right.
a thing that existed yet. Those consoles were built for HD TVs. Like, okay, we're gonna have these consoles stick around for 10 years. So 10 years from now, HD is gonna be everywhere.
Yeah, so they need consoles that can like output
Right.
like 4K
Now,
or something.
they're just like, we need 4K. These systems can't even do 60 frames at 720p.
Yeah.
What about VR? Do you feel that?
And
could be
that's
the
another
next-
thing. Like VR is a big thing that everyone's pushing right now, and whether it takes off or not is really still to be determined. But
Yeah.
Sony's in on it. They're doing their PlayStation VR, but they have to release a new system to do VR because the system's not powerful enough. And like there's already Microsoft and Sony have already pretty much said that there's going to be a PS4K and an Xbox 4K that are coming out because they need to redo the entire system to support 4K. But they're saying like it's gonna be backwards compatible, and they're like one of the games I guess it's coming out for the PS4. It's gonna run in 4K 60 frames on the PS4K, but on the regular PS4 you're either gonna run it at 1080p 60 or 4K 30, and so it's gonna be a clusterfuck. It's gonna be the new DS all over again, but with like home consoles. So
Yeah.
everyone just don't spend the $500 on a PS4K. Go get a GTX 980, put it in your computer, and then join the master race and stop being a fucking scrub.
Yeah. And speaking of PC, let's talk a little bit about what we've been playing. Overwatch. They had an open beta the past few days. I know me and Saber have been playing a bit of it.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's very fun.
It's
very TF2.
it's very TF2 inspired, because TF2 was just did a lot of things right that people are used to. It almost seems counterproductive to change anything up too severely. It's got that wonderful Blizzard feeling to it with the way the characters behave, how cartoony they look. The game feels quite balanced considering it's a beta. I can't say there's anything glaring that's like this needs to be fixed. Like in StarCraft, they'd be like, okay, that's super overpowered. We gotta nerf that. Or wow, it's like that ability is too much. We've got to take that down a notch.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are excited about this game, from console users to PC users, and it should be fun to see how big of a splash it makes on the competitive scene.
What?
He's dead.
Saber, your mic turned off. I can't hear you.
Oh,
there you go.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. That was weird.
Video games. Sorry, I was talking about ISIS, and then they cut me off. Do you think it can become a competitive game, like on the it's like replace
Well,
Doom?
it's a Blizzard game, so yes.
Yeah, I mean it's got the right company made it, so
Yeah.
I definitely think it has a chance to be competitive as long as it stays as balanced as it is right now, and I'm sure it will.
Yeah. I was actually playing a bit of it earlier today, where it's the brawl mode where it chooses a random character for you, and once you die, you choose it chooses another random character, so don't know like what character you're going to beat next, which is pretty fun.
It's kind of a cool dynamic.
Yeah.
That is a cool way to like force yourself to kind of become familiar with everybody.
Yeah, it is. Like I started playing a character that I hadn't really played much before because I'm terrible at tanks, but I think I found the tank that I'm good at now.
Who's that?
Zarya.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's next in your topic there, Perry?
Let's see. Let's talk about YouTube's copyright ID thing that came into light. Apparently, they're changing like what they're doing as far as like what happens when you get a copyright notice.
Good.
Yeah,
It only took them like what 3 fucking years.
I know.
Longer.
They went in and added like 1 line of code. They were like, "We got you." Fucking dicks.
Correct
Yeah.
me. So before, I know what it was before, which was if a company claims copyright in your video during that time period where you're trying to dispute it, the money still goes to the company,
Right.
Yeah.
and any money they get to keep, which is stupid. Now it's isn't it put in a spot where it's like no one gets it until
Yeah, it's put into
it's
a
held
separate-
in escrow,
Yeah.
basically. So depending on how the claim goes, like if you made $50 during that time, if it goes to you, if you rule that it's fair use, it goes to them. If it's not,
This is
So-
good because there are companies. This is a problem. There's a lot of problems, but this one particular is extremely corrupt. Where you'd have these fake companies claim
Yeah.
these videos and just so they can get the initial money because they know it's not theirs, but they also know the dispute process takes forever. So they'll claim it, go, and then they leave with the money because by that time,
right,
down
all the
fees.
money's been made.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bastards. But so
Yeah,
this
but I'm
should
sure
help
they'll-
with that.
Yes,
I'm
that'll
worried-
help
Yeah.
a lot.
Or will they find a way around it? That's the problem.
Oh, I'm sure they'll do something. Like the thing I'm worried about, because I don't know how it works. I haven't done a lot of research on it, and my channel doesn't make any money anymore, so I don't care. But let's say a company makes a claim, you counter it. It's while it's being disputed, all the thing goes into escrow or whatever. Then they rule that in the company's favor, and you want to appeal. Is the money still held, or is all the money still lost at that point?
In all fairness, I don't know. I don't know how that goes.
That's a good point.
Because that's happened to me multiple times, where like it's fair use, and the company's like, I don't give a shit.
Because before, no matter what, the money, whenever it went to a company, it stayed with the company. You're not getting a cent back. That's interesting. It'd be more fair. I mean, it'd get messy though if you start taking the money back from the company.
Yeah.
This is why
That's why there should be something like if it rules in favor of the company, you should be able to file an appeal before anything's processed, or you just accept it and then it's transferred.
Interesting.
Mm.
Well, Three Stooges Matt is a friend of ours for the podcast. He's a lawyer, and he thinks it's extremely corrupt that you've got these companies that and this is kind of a little bit off topic, but use like 1% of footage that they say that's ours. Even then, it could still be fair use, but that 1% is enough for them to take 100% of the profit. I think that's stupid.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
That
Yep.
is bullshit.
not fair.
I still think people need to start thinking about this, like changing things quicker and in a more progressive way, because this is just not getting better quick enough.
I mean, when you
and more
have
people-
2,000 people, with like over 1 million
That's true.
subscribers, like it's a huge business now, and the fact that it's not being treated as such is ludicrous.
and
Well,
it's growing in that direction too.
That's
Like,
the weird thing about, I guess, we're all considered new media, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But like someone like let's say PewDiePie or whatever, even though he has like I don't know how many millions of subscribers watch that guy.
43 million or something like that.
Like he gets a lot of views. He probably gets more views than most TV shows, but he could never be on like Jimmy Fallon or something.
I say, over the course of the next decade, possibly even less than that, it's going to be completely different. That's going to the
Yeah.
internet. I don't know. I mean, no one can be completely certain, but like I see all these little kids who are like Markiplier, PewDiePie, yeah. And it's interesting to see that now What? Is my dancing making you laugh?
No,
Kylie?
no, that reminds me. Like when I went to go see Jungle Book, there was that preview for YouTube Red, and like I saw some kids that are like PewDiePie, and I was like, oh my god.
Well,
But it is weird now that like there was that thing I guess in the fall where someone, I think it was Entertainment Weekly, covered like I think it was the Teen Choice Awards. I'm losing half the audience, but it'll have a good point. Is that was that they kept criticizing like who are all these people, like who
Yeah,
is
I remember
this?
that.
Why is
I
this
remember
person
that.
famous, and it just made them look really out of touch. The thing is, like, I think now that there is the internet and you had a lot of these people who were Vine stars, and some of those people have like way more views than like people who have tons of money behind them in a major network. I think they were kind of surprised and taken aback at how big the audience was, but I don't think most people in the mainstream media really get what's going on. They kind of just think, oh no, the way we're doing it is how people understand entertainment, but that's like kind of not how it is. It hasn't been that way in a while, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of sad, but I think also the internet kind of finds ways to correct that, and things are definitely changing. Like there's more like even local media that's on the internet now and
Let-
stuff. So it's like it's changing in ways
That's kind of a worry for me though.
oh why
Is because like you have the internet, it's growing really fast and it's quickly becoming like super mainstream. That just means all the bullshit that's currently on cable is just gonna migrate to the web, and then you're gonna have to deal with like all that corporate. I mean, it's already gotten way more corporate than it was like what 5 years ago even. And I just
Yeah,
feel
but-
like there's gonna be a lot of baggage that's gonna be moved from cable to the web.
I mean, just because that's there, but there's also all the people who before couldn't get something on TV now can just go online. So it's
exactly.
It's
It's
kinda-
it's the
I feel
greatest
like-
thing for the average Joe.
well, I feel like there's both. You have both the sides coming in where it's like you're getting the crap that nobody really wants, but you're getting more weirder, interesting stuff than you could.
I don't
ever
think
have.
the internet will ever be as shitty as cable ended up becoming.
And it's
Yeah.
too
Just
big for that.
because
it's
because
too big.
the barrier of entry is non-existent at this point, so you're always going to have legitimate content, and I think for the most part people will respect that, because
Yeah.
that's kind of like a foundation of what the internet kind of like became, is that like, oh, it's all legitimate.
I want to
and-
make a weird comparison, if you don't mind. Okay, this is gonna be an odd one. So when I go to these conventions for MLP, which I have a lot of fun at, Jeffrey, Race, and I are. I try to say this in not a braggy way, but I suppose we're high tier community guests, which is really nice. They take care of us. But there's still this, and maybe other community guests for these cons can relate. There's this weird divide of like show staff on this side, community guests on this side. Like you're second tier trash, or whatever, and you are here's Green Nexus, here's God, whatever you'd like. And I get it because these are show staff, and that's why a lot of folks come here is to see and greet them. But like, if the Living Tombstone went to a convention and you have this voice actor who maybe voiced some obscure character, it's like, dude, this guy's got like almost 2 million subscribers, tens if not hundreds of millions of views. He should be way up on the totem pole, but it's like, you're an internet okay, that's cute. Okay, but this is a actor or whatever. There's still that weird gap. That's what I'm trying to say. That's
No,
what,
there's something that needs to merge it together, and I don't think the problem is you have a huge generation gap in terms of understanding what media has become, which is not like, it's like the whole thing. Everything now is really a la carte. Like the whole experience of YouTube or Tumblr or even Facebook. Like, do you ever look at like someone else on their Facebook feed? And you're
Facebook
like,
sucks.
and you're like, well, Facebook sucks, but or Twitter or something. You look at their feed and you're like, what the hell is this? This isn't Twitter. That's not my Twitter.
Yeah.
That's not my Tumblr dashboard. And it's like, I think now that we're so a la carte, it's really different, and no one's really used to that because we have kind of an old media setup. So it's gonna be I think it's gonna be a while, but somebody's gonna do it eventually, or the internet will just make do and we'll just have drama alert and crap like that. So
Yeah.
Well, I
another
watched a
thing-
video about that. Sorry, go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say to go back to your point. I think another thing that kind of the reason that divide exists when you have like community guests versus show staff or whatever, or just like, old media, I guess, personalities just in any sort of convention is I think for community guests, you're showing up and you're doing your thing. But for a lot of the times with the show staff and stuff, that's an investment on the convention's part because you have to pay, fees for them just to show up and things like that on top of it. So they have to make sure that like that's a good experience so they can return on that investment, make sure they come back. Whereas like they know that you and Race are going to be there every fucking year, whether they want you there or not.
That's the thing, but I disagree to a certain point. Like, there are some cons where, I mean, there are cons we've turned down. We're like, they're like, we want you to come out, and we're like, okay, what do you offer? And they're like, nothing. We just want you to come out. It's like, okay, that's cool, but we can't.
Wasn't that one in Australia was like that?
There's one for Australia. There's one in Britain. There's a couple international.
Yeah, it's
ones.
like
I'm flattered. Like I'm legit flattered. Thank you for asking.
But international tickets are a lot of money.
Like you got to realize there's a difference between saying we'd like to have you and we are gonna have you, as in we're getting you out there. Because I've gone to so many of these cons now, and it's just weird because I came from the internet, and I will never forget my roots. And I will never let my head get too big. And I'm very flattered going to these cons when like, we'll get you out here, we'll take care of you. Because to me, it's a business, they're taking care of me. I will take care of them. You want me to do a video ad, host panels, MC stuff, whatever. We will do it because we're growing up adults going to a pony convention and we're doing our jobs. And, I mean, the Bernie stuff is an interesting case because there's a lot of variety and a lot of outliers. But I was going somewhere with this, but I'm drawing a blank now. I said it because I disagree with you, Tom.
Well, I mean, I think it's what you're is that you're not just going to go to any convention because it is an investment of your own money and your own time, and you want to make sure that it's worth your while and that you can actually, getting to Australia is not something you can just do just because you feel like it, Yeah. But that's kind of my point as well. Is that like when they have like M.A. Larson or someone go to a convention, they have to like pay his like fee for all the travel and stuff.
Because he wouldn't go otherwise. Yes.
Yeah, like, but they also have to pay him for just like the showing up fee. Like they have to like talk with like whoever represents him through the company or whatever not, and like there's more money involved than just covering his costs.
No, I mean there's a lot. There's and usually for the show staff MLP, there's like 2 agents for everyone.
Exactly.
I mean, you're either with this guy or with this gal. I
think the reason the divide is still there is because the old media has that entire like, airs of importance. Where because the internet is more like laid back and chill, like you don't have that.
Yeah, you don't have an agent on YouTube.
Have an agent that that's fucking doing all these deals.
There are times though, like I remember at Equestria LA when Ego Raptor showed up, and that people were like, "What? Ego Raptor from Game Grumps is here?" Cause I kind of get a little bit. I'm like, I get a smirk on my face when I see real big names show up, and it's just kind of the air out of the room where all the show stuff are like, no one cares about you anymore. This person's here, and it's kind of a slice of humble pie, and it gives me a glimpse of the future. Because like you said, the internet it removed the middleman. It allowed people across the world to have a chance to at least broadcast themselves, and it's up to them by their own merit and ideas and creativity to get to a certain point, whether it's Twitter, Tumblr, Vine, YouTube, whatever. I think that's awesome. This is one of the coolest things ever for the average person, period. Yeah. It's also awful in a lot of ways, but that's kind of, I feel like internet kind of represents humanity in that regards. But like you said, Tom, the corporate stuff, it's leaking in. We're seeing it like YouTube Red. I think they realize if anybody who works with the entertainment industry, they'd have to be brain dead to not realize that this is the future in one way or another, or some form or another, and that if you're not getting on board with it, you're going to be left behind.
Yeah. Well, even the recent, what was that event? There was an event in New York last week. It was like it was kind of like an upfronts for YouTube, like how TV networks have upfronts to sell ads for YouTube channels, because they make more companies sell ads on YouTube channels now than on TV. So we'll spend more money on YouTube ads than TV, because there's more YouTube videos than TV channels. So.
That's true. It's easy to make too. I mean, the content is like, let's play video game versus Game of Thrones episode or something. That's probably a better comparison.
I mean, I think that we're still both gonna coexist together, but it is kind of coming to a point where you're kind of looking at them like, dude, like nobody even, in the grand scheme of things, not many people even care who this person is, but they're getting all this exposure. But then you have someone online who has double or triple the audience and double or triple the money coming in, and no one in the mainstream, like they can't get on the Today Show or something. And it's kind of getting a little ridiculous. And I think it's just going to get worse. And at the point, if there's going to be a tipping point, they're going to be like, okay, fine. Like they wouldn't
I think TV is like definitely holding on to that identity because it's what's keeping them relevant, because that's the whole thing. Like the internet gives you this opportunity to have so much more exposure and like a potential for more audience than you could ever get on TV. But the fact is, no matter how big you are, you still need permission to get on TV. You need someone to approach you to get on TV.
Yes.
And that kind of exclusivity does give it an air of like mystique and importance. If like, oh, I was able to go on TV.
Well, it backfires though. I'm sorry. Like, okay, Fred, boom, sucks on TV. Smosh me.
Right.
Ew, gross.
Well, no, I'm not saying.
Go ahead.
Well, I don't think necessarily like transitioning having a show on TV. It's just like being able to promote on TV is something that no one on YouTube can do, or even on a radio show.
But would they want?
And that's
to,
like kind of. I mean, if I could, I would, and I think we all might consider it because it's another avenue. Because we are kind of limited in terms of.
At the point, I think though, is that like you can versus you can't. You can go online and do your thing. You can't go on TV and do your thing. And because there's a barrier of entry, it does create that air of like importance, because being able to do it is like I have and you haven't.
But if they, I mean, I still believe it's like rock bands when they wouldn't let bands on TV or rock musicians on TV for a while, and then it just became too popular, and they're like, all right, well, we have to have them on like every program and have them have their own show where there's performances and like blow this thing up, or we're just going to be left out in the cold. And I think we're like so close to that, but I don't know who it's going to be.
I mean, it's already starting, obviously, like you have fucking hashtags on the news and shit now. So it's just like, they understand.
It'll be happening, but I don't know. I'm not saying I know who's going to do it. I guess we'll find out soon.
Everybody's video went away.
Oh, it did?
That's weird.
What was that? I didn't.
What the hell was that?
Skype is being a little bitch tonight.
That's weird.
That was
your videos are dim.
Yeah, they are.
My video's dim. I haven't seen Saber's video this entire time. Paleo and Jim are
I'm actually only seeing on my Skype. I'm only seeing me and Paleo.
Yeah, I'm only seeing myself and Tom.
I can see Tom and myself, and that's it.
So
what the hell?
Captain America: Civil War.
This weird combo. Most people can see Tom. Is what I've got from this.
Oh, now I can see Jim. Now I see all of you, but you're still all very dim. What the hell?
It's like the lights turning on in the gymnasium.
Oh wait, there he goes.
They're dim at first, and then they start getting brighter and brighter.
All right, I think we talked enough about YouTube. So let's do.
I feel like it was a good. Talk,
yeah, it was a good discussion.
It was a good discussion about Civil War.
Okay, well, I have two more things before we go to the Civil War discussion.
I'm gonna play Hearthstone and put the camera on my during the time when y'all talk about it.
All right. Well, the first thing I want to talk about before we talk about Civil War is China's Enlight.
What?
It's a Enlight Media.
It was like in North Korea today.
No. China's Enlight Media to produce 22 animated features starting with Big Fish and Begonia.
Tumblers.
Oh,
Yeah, and they have a trailer for that movie called Big Fish and Begonia, and it looks really good. And apparently they have a lot of other animated films they're going to do. So this is going to be like China's version of Disney or Pixar.
Welcome to the fray.
Well, I mean, China had a huge hit with that Stephen Chow movie Mermaid, which I didn't see.
Yeah, it's like in the top 10 of the highest grossing films of the year. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's a huge market. It makes sense. I know China's considering buying, I think it's Paramount or some studio.
Yeah, I forgot.
Not China the country. I'm sorry. That's super racist and stupid. a Chinese company is considering buy, and China is getting more and more involved in Hollywood, so it's kind of not surprising. But they are one of them. They are next to America. They're probably the second most important country to release your movie in.
Yeah.
And they also limit the amount of American films that can be released in China. So they, of course, want to release their own product, and having their own animation studio helps because they don't limit Chinese films being released in China, and they can also hopefully maybe release them in America and probably have Jack Black redub it or something. I don't know.
But yeah, if you look up the trailer for Big Fish and Begonia, it looks really good, and it's like a hybrid 2D 3D animation, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that and the other films that they're going to make. So that's
Yeah, I'm
neat.
interested.
And the other thing I want to talk about before we talk about Civil War is the new Powerpuff Girls is going to have a crossover with Teen Titans Go.
It's not a bad idea from a money point of view, because Teen Titans, when they made Powerpuff Girls, I think they knew exactly we want to make some Teen Titans Go version of this.
But I think they're doing it because Powerpuff Girls is flopping real hard, and they need something to bring it back up. And
Well, no, I mean,
it isn't doing well.
Yeah.
but it's not like they said it's not doing well. Now we have to animate this immediately. I assume that.
I
Unless I'm
assume that
wrong.
they planned this before.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
wasn't a reaction. This is just like, oh, thank God.
That's
this.
probably true, but I think they at least set this safeguard up for a reason.
Yeah. Because like the Teen Titans Go is still their most popular show for some reason.
Well, it's my new favorite show, Paleo.
Oh my god.
It's my new favorite show too, Paleo. How dare you? I love.
No, Saber, it's my new favorite show.
Oh, I guess I'll watch that. I guess I'm stuck with Clarence then. It's
Yeah,
infinite
but
autism.
I just love that like there was that fake image of like the Powerpuff Girls meet Johnny Test that came out, and then this comes out, and they're like, "Oh my god, why?"
What's real? Just hear
this-
whip craps.
This is the earliest I've heard a crossover happening. Like this is
Yeah.
fairly early. So
It'd be funny if the first episode was a crossover. It's just like maybe they'll have a crossover with something good in the future.
they used to do that to do backdoor pilots to introduce a show, do a crossover first
Yeah.
in an episode in a show. Like these do that on sitcoms a lot. But
They
like,
talked about that on the second episode of Rick and Morty.
do they?
Yeah, yeah.
Backdoor pilot, yeah. But they, with Powerpuff Girls, they clearly set this up. But I know that show's like not even doing well with the demographic. So
Yeah.
that seems to be
Shit.
the problem with those shows is, or even with like something like Gem and the Holograms, the movie, is when you alienate the original fan base, that does not help because you kind of need them to start the show off in good numbers and then
Yes.
have the younger demo find it. And if you don't have that initial bump,
Yeah.
it doesn't. Like I read a thing about it in the last month or so, and they're saying how that actually helped the Degrassi Next Generation because most people
Yeah.
who watched it initially liked the old show, and that gave it a bump and let it become. I mean, it's still going. It's
Yeah,
on
that,
Netflix.
that helps, though I'm not sure like as far as like how much it helped and how much is it just the brand name is it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the new one. Like
Yeah.
the old fans really like it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean that helped. I mean, look at Girl Meets World. I mean, that started off primarily from older fans, and now it's I think doing well. I've heard it's doing well. I haven't really looked at. I'm not watching the Girl Meets World numbers.
I think it just comes down to making something that's actually good.
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
well,
It's not good.
Make something that doesn't suck dick.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unless it's sucking my dick.
They I don't know, they pick something like really like insane to cross it over with, like I don't know, Powerpuff Girls meets Band of Brothers or something.
Meets what?
Band of Brothers.
Oh,
Wow.
I was gonna say Venture Brothers.
No, mine's better.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about the big thing.
I will watch the movie tomorrow, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn Skype off here, as in
Well, Just mute
I can't hear you.
or just like
can't
deafen
hear
yourself, I guess.
Someone
can't hear you.
text him if we
Okay.
get the
And you know what I'm gonna do? Turn my camera off.
Oh
and
no!
I'm gonna
No,
share
put your
screens.
camera back on.
No, me sharing my screen. Yeah.
or
He's
somebody.
gonna share his screen. So he's gonna have Hearthstone in his little.
You're
window.
messing up the thing.
Hold on. Put your camera back on. No, you're a faggot. I don't need to do that. You ain't gonna make me suffer with you. Play some
Stop
Overwatch.
messing it up.
So Abraham Lincoln
You messed
dies.
it up
That's
by
the
watching
end.
Civil War without me. That's what happened, Paleo.
What? What?
Go ahead and talk about who won, the Yankees or the Confederates, because that joke
Hold
hasn't
on,
been
I'm just
made.
gonna remove
And
Saber
isn't it
from
so
the.
that only the
It
Americans
was
have ever-
shocking.
Okay, there
when-
we go.
when
Okay, Saber's
Ant-Man-
gone. Now we can have peace.
I was shocked when Ant-Man pulled out Hawkeye's eyes and made him eat them. That was shocking.
Yeah, he hawked his eyes.
Oh, was Saber
All right,
still?
yeah. Let me fix my everything because Saber screwed it up.
That would be funny if Saber heard that and he's like, "Damn it, Jim, it's ruined." Now we know Ant-Man does that. Point is, it was a good movie.
All right, I haven't
There
put,
were no ants.
I haven't
There
put this-
weren't any ants. That is very true. I didn't see one ant.
Okay.
I haven't watched
Let's-
Ant-Man. That's the only Marvel movie I haven't
Really?
seen for some reason.
It's pretty good.
I know.
You
I
didn't
wanted to watch
see
it
it?
the day before, and then I forgot. So I went to go see Civil War. I was like, "Fuck! I didn't see fucking Ant-Man."
I'm surprised you didn't see it.
I wanted to. It was not because I was like, "Ant-Man looks great. I don't want to watch it." It was more just like, my car's been broken for 6 months. I can't get to the movie theater. I guess I'm
Yeah.
not seeing Ant-Man.
You
Then I
can't.
just
You
forgot.
can't make like a hobo sign and said, "Going to Ant-Man."
Hindsight's a bitch.
You should have done that. Someone would have driven you,
Probably.
or they would have been like, "You mean Ant-Man, Tennessee? I'm going right there."
Shit. Now
All
I'm
right,
on a real adventure. But yeah, fucking Civil War
Yeah.
Let's
sucked.
What?
let's
Oh, you changed your opinion since your video.
let's
Look.
avoid spoilers to begin with, and then we'll get into spoilers.
Okay.
But yeah, Civil War. Yeah, it sucked. It sucked so much.
Did you guys see Batman and Superman?
Yeah, that was so good.
Did you
that
walk
was so
into the
much
ro-
better than this.
Did you
Civil
walk-
War blew BVS out of the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No,
know.
seriously, fucking Civil War. I don't know. I've watched both of your reviews on it, and then mine. I just felt so weird because I didn't even talk about the movie at all in my video. I just talked about like they did the thing, the universe thing. I talk about the plot, but no, go see it.
I feel like most people were just like, "Holy shit, how'd they do that?" Like, you're almost like the first time I was more astonished at how did they get to this point? Like, this
Yeah.
is crazy.
It was
Yeah.
like the
that.
first like MCU film where I'm just like, wow, I'm like really like in the moment understanding the bullshit, ridiculous like spectacle that's happening right now.
Yeah, or like I've heard people who saw it who hadn't seen Winter Soldier. Which, if there's any one movie you need to see before this, it's Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Like I would say it's Winter Soldier, then Age of Ultron, and then probably other stuff. Maybe like Ant-Man. You don't even really need to see. I don't think.
No, I didn't
but
feel like I was missing
No,
anything.
there is a
There was
bit of a
one comment he made to fucking Falcon that I didn't
yeah.
get, and that was the only thing I felt like I didn't understand because I didn't see Ant-Man.
Yeah, but I mean, it did really feel like, I mean, as someone who did this a lot when I was a kid, it did feel like reading a crossover collection, in one sitting. It just felt that. It felt like that. And that was like a crazy feeling because I've never felt, like, I never thought I'd get to see something like Executioner's Song, which I was a big X-Men kid. Or like, I love the Kree-Shi'ar War as a kid. I love that little storyline. And so it felt like reading something like that. But it was like thrilling and dark, and it was just like really very interesting movie. It's kind of like, damn, MCU, like I'm kind of shocked you can keep doing this well. It's like I never thought it was going to be bad, but it's just like kind of just the whole afterwards I was just like, how did this happen? Like, damn,
It was like a
just
really dense fucking movie, but it never
Yeah.
felt like it was dense. It was like one of those things where you just come out the other side like, that was a lot of shit that just went on. I didn't feel at all because like
there's a whole lot, but it doesn't feel bloated at the same time.
Yeah.
No, it really does.
Yeah.
I kind of thought, like, I kept thinking the next day, I was like, I mean, I definitely thought I took everything in, but I feel like I need to see it again anyway. It was
Yeah.
like a weird, it's like, I didn't feel like I missed something, but I was like I don't know, I kind of just want to see it again just to
You know what it's
make
like,
sure.
Jim?
And also, it was awesome. What?
it's like when you read a really good comic and you have to go read it again.
Yeah, it is. It is like that. It is like that.
It's like they're doing the thing. But yeah,
I mean, like, I honestly, part of me's gone, man, I'd really like to watch all the Captain America movies in one sitting now. I'd like to watch, like, I'd like to do a lot of different combos leading up to it because it's just so, it just has that comic book feel of just grabbing a bunch of comics and being like, this is my night. I'm going to read this crossover.
this movie felt more Avengers than Age of Ultron to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
At times, because like some of the time it does feel like a Captain America movie when it's focusing on Steve.
I mean, I guess there is a lot of focus on Captain America, but I guess narratively, like you would expect it to be that way.
Yeah.
Like I think that's probably. I think if this was an Avengers movie, the airport scene would have been the final scene of the movie,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
not
well,
the slugfest between Cap and Iron Man.
that was kind of that was one of the things. Are we getting into spoilers or no?
I mean, that's
Um,
not really a spoiler. It's just kind of a
No,
fact.
it's not.
Yeah.
That's the thing is you can't really. I actually don't think there's too much you can really spoil. But the cool thing about this movie, at least the first time, is it definitely plays with. You're so used to the Marvel format, and it kind of like does it, but then breaks from it, which is
Yeah.
like really cool. Like I really like that. Like that airport fight in all intents of in most Marvel movies would be the end, and it's not. And it's like, but it's smart because I think one of the things Marvel's really good at is understanding what how the movie should be right for the story, not fitting it in the Marvel molds. Even though I think people were starting to feel that way, although I don't think it actually was doing that, but I think people were, and I think Civil War is like, look, we can change it up if we need to, but it's based on story. It's not based on anything else, and I think this like fit that really well because there's a lot of stuff like all the ideological discussions. Like I was like, wow, like this is happening a lot. Like for a big expensive movie, they're like let's talk about the differences in ideology and how they can both be civil. That's damn it, I can't believe I said that. How they can be civil to one another, but also it's like tense. It's like is very interesting. I think it's probably one of the few blockbusters I want to see again, just to be like, how did they get all of that? And then you can do a long discussion about this movie, and then go, but also Black Panther and Spider-Man. Holy shit! Like that
Yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right.
Oh my god.
You want to talk about spoiler stuff?
Okay.
We should just open it
Yeah.
up.
Okay. I'll
It's
put the spoiler
kind
tag
of-
on.
But it is kind of a miracle. Like, how did they get all of that to work? It's just like
I don't.
sometimes I'm like, maybe I'll see it again and it won't work. But I'm like, no, it worked. I can't. How did this happen?
No take backs.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that airport fight was like really good.
It
Yeah.
was fucking cool. Everyone who
Yeah.
like posted that screenshot of them just running at each other like this looks so gay.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Well, so I didn't mention this in my review because it's a spoiler thing. But since we're doing spoilers, I can talk about this. I live in Brooklyn, and I saw it in Brooklyn, and the Spider-Man Captain America fight at the end where he said, "You're from Queens, I'm from Brooklyn," and the crowd went crazy. Like, right when he said it's from Brooklyn, like everybody started like, yeah, fuck yeah. I was like, whoa, guys, like it's still Spider-Man. Let's not go too crazy. It was like definitely like a New York crowd moment where everyone just went nuts, like because they're all so hyped up and then him saying.
Yeah.
But I like that when he's talking to Aunt May, he's like, this guy Steve from Brooklyn.
His friend
That was
fucking
great.
huge.
That's so funny.
Yeah, but like I love there's this sequence during the airport fight where you see like two of the characters going against each other and then another two and then another two. It feels like pages flipping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, or I like when all the Spider-Man stuff was so good. I like how people were like, how old is this guy? Like they're all like, I think this guy's pretty young when he says the Empire Strikes Back thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny because that was a big influence on this movie. I like that they just
Yeah.
called it out. It was like, wow, interesting. But it was Man, it would. I kind of after seeing Batman and Superman and seeing it with other people who were in town when that came out, I was like, damn it, I wish we had all seen Civil War because Civil War was so much fun.
Yeah.
I would much rather take people to see that, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So. One of my favorite characters in the movie was actually Ant-Man, and like when he meets Captain America, just like, wow, I'm shaking your hand too long. No, this is awesome. I know you too. You're great.
That was funny.
Yeah, it was super good. It made me want to go watch Ant-Man, but I still haven't done it.
Well, I'm curious, like, so we're not getting what happens with these guys till like 2018, to my understanding. So how are they going to do Ant-Man 2? But I don't know when that's coming out because he has to get out of jail.
Let me see.
Again.
Because I know
get out of jail again.
Well, no, like isn't it? I'm assuming like from the end of the movie that Steve got everybody out. Like that was they didn't.
No,
like,
he didn't. I don't.
I thought it was implied.
I thought it was implied that he was breaking everybody out. Because like everyone was knocked out in the place, and then Steve comes down to the jail cell, and everyone's in there, and then it cuts to credits. And I figured he was just like, I'm busting everybody out.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
And it's weird because people were saying like a lot of the complaints I was hearing about this movie is that there wasn't enough stakes, or that there wasn't enough I guess what's the word, like consequences for what was going on, and I thought that there was like that shot was like implying a lot of consequences because now like half of these characters are basically vigilantes and wanted, whereas the other half are still operating under the law, and like that changes the entire dynamic. So to say that there were no consequences seems a bit disingenuous.
I think there were huge consequences because even that end fight screams of consequences because as soon as he dug his shield into Iron Man's suit, and like that fight got like I was like, holy shit! Is Robert? Is it like he fucking dead? Like was that whole Spider-Man thing a way to throw us off or something? That's what I thought when they like he was really going. I was like, holy shit, he's gonna like die. That was so genius because they made us believe he's gonna be around in all these movies, but then he doesn't die. But but this is the spoiler section. But,
I like what he said to Steve after like he got defeated. He said, "You don't deserve that shield. My father made that shield," and then he just throws it down and he walks away.
Well, it's like that was like it was like kind of funny, but at the same time it was super like potent because like that was the whole point of that last fight is because like this dude killed my father, he killed my mother, and he just drops it. It was like such like a subtextual moment, just like their friendship's over at this point. You know.
Was it revealed? It was not revealed before that scene that Cap knew, right?
I don't think so. I was trying to figure that out too. I was like, was this ever mentioned before?
Because it wasn't in Winter Soldier.
Or maybe at the scene where they were keeping Bucky in the vice grip thing, he probably told them during that time.
Well, maybe because he did go over. They don't mention it in Winter Soldier, but they mention he's responsible for all these killings. Maybe he looked over the files and found that out.
Oh.
Maybe that's that's kind of how I assumed is that because he looked for Bucky for so long, he would have of course gone through every file, which is very Captain America. And he would have been found out.
Yeah, that reminds me. I actually watched Winter Soldier like literally yesterday. At the end of Winter Soldier, he gets this file and Black Widow says you might not want to pull that thread because like I think it has everything on Bucky Barnes. So
oh wow, that's so Marvel. That's so Marvel right there.
Shit, that's actually pretty cool.
It did shock me in the theater. It was probably the most shocked I've been since. I know this is a spoiler section, so I'm going to spoil every movie. But it's like you should know this at this point. But I haven't been as shocked as like the Han Solo death. Like that was really shocking, even though I knew everyone had that spoiled for them pretty much. But that shocked me when he was like, "Yeah, I know." I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, it was really. I don't know. It was like kind of that's the one thing about the movie is as much as you're on Cap's side, you're still like, Steve, what the fuck are you doing? Like that happened a lot. It was really like there isn't. It's almost like the Miyazaki thing where there's like no real good guy and there's no bad guy. It's kind of reminded me of that. Although there is Zemo, but Zemo is like really out of it for most of it, and an interest in a way that makes sense, which I think was probably one of the only times they've gotten a weaker villain to work for them. Because you're like, what's the deal with Zemo? And then when he like makes them do that at the end, you're like, holy shit, he's like one of the worst villains ever.
Yeah, that was like, it was a cool sequence.
Yeah,
everything about this movie kicked fucking ass.
It was. I mean, I kept thinking like, what's the problem with it? I can't even.
Yeah, speaking of kicking ass, Black Panther was really good.
Yeah.
Dude,
yes, it was. I'm
his
so
costume
excited.
design, like
his costume was so good.
How the fuck are they getting so good at making like that mask looked like a comic book drawing?
Yeah,
like full stop. It's between that and Deadpool, like, oh my god.
Yeah, the comic booky-ness of movies now has really been upped since the Avengers. Because if you look at how the X-Men movies are handled, like they still have the leather and they're still in the Matrix-y style, which is bleh. And I'm liking that we're getting more into actual comic book characters designs in movies. Like they don't have to be like, oh, we have to change it because it's a movie. Like they can actually do it now.
They've made it work.
So awesome. Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah. One thing I was confused by is that the stinger at the end, not the Spider-Man one, but the one where they have Bucky frozen, is that it's in Wakanda, and they shoot like the statue of Black Panther, and I was like, I'm wondering if like originally they weren't going to have Black Panther in the movie.
Oh, I know about that.
Oh, actually. Yeah?
So I think I mentioned in my review. I think I did, but I'll elaborate. Apparently, originally they were not sure about what the deal was with Spider-Man. Like the contract things weren't exactly going through. So they obviously need to keep working on the script. They can't just like sit around and twiddle their thumbs. So they were just like, well, look, let's just up Black Panther's involvement because we know we have him. So we might as well get some work done. And so originally Spider-Man was going to be a bigger part of Civil War, but they brought it down to just those couple scenes and brought up Black Panther. But then they liked everything. They liked everything they did with Black Panther. Hold on. Yeah. All right. They liked everything they did with Black Panther, so they kept it. So the whole like Sony going back and forth thing actually is what created the Black Panther plotline. Apparently in rewrites, because they were just like they couldn't wait to do this. They couldn't wait to just keep doing the script with Spider-Man because they just weren't sure and they didn't want to have to do like completely reshape the movie. So, but I think it worked out. It's also, I think, and something they won't say is that I'm sure Disney were like, look, I know you guys want Spider-Man and we'll play ball, but we are actually releasing this Black Panther movie and we have a little more skin in the game in terms of that. So if you could maybe emphasize that character, that would kind of help us.
That was going to be something I was going to ask you, Jim, is that now that Marvel has the rights for Spider-Man, is Sony going to be... Because they obviously, they very clearly tease that they're going to make a Spider-Man movie. Is Marvel doing that and paying Sony for licensing? Or is Sony doing the movie with Marvel's help?
Sony, from what we are to understand at this point in time, because I'm sure it will change between now and when the movie comes out, is that Feige is the producer. It's pretty much a Marvel movie that Sony is paying for and will release.
Yeah. It says on the list here that the producers for the Spider-Man Homecoming movie is Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal.
Oh, so, yeah, because she was, after she got fired, she got demoted to producer. Demoted or however you want to call it. But to my understanding, it's pretty much like a Marvel movie with a few more big creative people involved. But even the director of Spider-Man Homecoming is chilling at... I just actually read while you guys were talking about video games, is chilling at the Marvel offices with all the other directors. So I think it's actually... Marvel's very much involved. Whether they'll be able to do more after this is really up to Sony, but I think Sony realizes they need Marvel more than more than just having a Spider-Man movie aside from it, I think isn't
Oh,
going to
this
work.
is the director that made Cop Car. I haven't seen
Yeah,
that, but I've heard about it.
it's good. It's good. I mean, I'm excited for Homecoming because it sounds like a spectacular Spider-Man episode, and that's the kind of
Yeah,
Spider I think we want.
everybody wants.
I don't think people really want a big Spider-Man movie the way they were doing them. I think people want kind of a more smaller approach to it, and I think
Yeah,
from what I understand about Homecoming, I think this could do it. We'll see. I don't know, but if Feige's involved, I have trust in the Marvel people. I mean, they got Civil War to work. They can get a Spider-Man movie to work.
Civil
So,
War's one thing, but getting Sony to play ball correctly, come on, that's asking a lot.
well, yeah, that's true. And Sony's still going through a lot of changes because of the hack. But I think
yeah,
after the hack, they've learned to calm down a little because I mean, if they don't get the Spider-Man's actually their only franchise I can think of that's really working other than 21 Jump Street, which is not as profitable as Spider-Man because they might even lose James Bond soon. So they really need this to work. So I think they might just like let Marvel at least have this one. But I would be more concerned about whatever the sequel and the next ones are going to be. Though I'm concerned about those, but I think they're just going to let Homecoming happen so they can just get some money because they really need a hit, and especially if the way Ghostbusters is going, I think they really really need a big hit. So
yeah.
you know,
Oh, I was gonna say, speaking of Spider-Man and Black Panther, I just really loved the character interactions during the fights. As
oh
far
yeah,
as like how like Hawkeye was like, "Hi, I'm Clint. I don't think we formally met," and then Black Panther's like, "I don't care."
oh yeah, I like that. That was funny. I like the even that scene between Hawkeye and Black Widow. I thought was one of the better scenes in it because it really showed you how knowing the MCU is the only way you could understand it because you knew from both the Avengers movies that not only were they really good friends, but she like knew his kids and knew his
Yeah,
wife, and like obviously they were very close, and that he was like basically like who doesn't Vision say it that he's basically like throwing punches with her, like neither of them are really hitting each other,
yeah,
Yeah,
which
you're pulling the
that
punches.
yeah, that was I like that. That was really cool because it's just like a split second, but you're like, man, I totally felt that, and you barely built it in this movie, but you had been building towards it. It's like
That's
so
why
smart.
this thing's so fucking brilliant. Cause like it's just some people are saying like, oh, it feels like another episode of a TV show. But like I think that's a positive because that means you have so much
Yeah,
more
yeah,
backstory to play off of. I usually get a lot more invested in TV shows like that than I do just straight up movies because they have so much previous, plot that they can build on.
or well, in this, like rather than like something like the original Star Wars or even either Star Wars trilogy where they have years and years between them, in terms of continuity, it just really like takes you out of it because you almost are like, oh, who is this person? Oh, I have to learn who they are now. And in this, they have so the time between each movie is so short, and and they don't change enough between two movies because it isn't a huge amount of time that you feel like you really know them. Like there's so much more of a connection. It's like
Yeah, and the
it's
fact that Marvel's just like trusts you, it's just like you've seen these all. We
yeah.
don't need to like stop and be like, this is Black Widow and this is what she does. You know,
It shows an amazing amount of trust in the audience, which most big movies do not have. So it was like really shocking to see how much trust they had. Like they really went out on a limb, but probably not because those movies make so much money. But it's like it's really cool to see a big studio be like, no, we know they've got it. Don't worry.
it's
It's kind of
interesting.
cool.
It's interesting though because like they run the risk of eventually doing the same thing that they're in with their comics right now. It's just that
Yeah.
like 10 years from now, if they're still going and like you're a 15-year-old kid, like you have 10 years worth of movies to watch just to understand what's going on. So like it's really cool right now, but it's eventually going to collapse on itself.
Well, absolutely,
yeah,
because these actors will get too old. That'll be a problem.
yeah,
And it's almost like explaining, like, I have to explain, even with James Bond is probably one of the, or Godzilla, or two long running franchises that you almost have to explain to people because they can't even imagine getting into it because there's so many. And Marvel is gonna get to that point because they say they want to just keep doing them, and eventually they'll make the Ultimate Universe and restart it all or something. I mean, they're gonna have to.
Yeah, I mean, just like they did with the comics, and then that'll get fucking.
Yeah, and then they'll have to restart it every 20 years.
Yeah.
As far as like the movies that are coming out in the rest of this decade is part of Phase 3, and Phase 3 has more movies than the previous two phases.
Really?
Because Phase 1 had Iron Man, Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, and the Avengers, and that's 6. And then Phase 2 also had 6, but this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It has 10 in this phase,
including both movies that used to be called Infinity War, but are probably going to be called something else.
But I don't see Inhumans on this list. So did they cancel it?
Inhumans was always Phase 4, but they have taken a date off it. And apparently the thing with Inhumans was, not to get too inside Hollywood. Well, I guess I have to explain it. But when the Marvel broke up and the big billionaire guy who had the creative committee who wouldn't pay people enough to really, like, actors who do Marvel movies don't get paid as much as like people in the DCU, for example, until there was two people, Feige and this Russian billionaire Ike. It starts with a P, Permanmurmer or something. I'm getting the story right, but I ruined this guy's name. But anyway, when Age of Ultron did well, but not as well, Feige basically went to Disney and kind of had a power struggle and got that guy moved to the TV Netflix side, and Feige just runs Marvel movies exclusively at this point. So there's actually been a bit of a shift, but apparently one of the things left before the Age of Ultron, which he used basically to say they needed to do reshoots, which he made them do and made them go higher budgeted, and he used something he insisted on doing and blamed it on him, and it wasn't a good look for Feige. But I think it'll help Marvel be better, but Inhumans was a leftover from that guy's reign, and people said Feige just waited to cancel it all this time just to make it look like it wasn't, but it clearly was, because he could let us wait, because they weren't working on that movie. It wasn't coming out till 2019 or something, right?
Yeah. Like, what has me hopeful for the two-part Avengers movie later this decade is that the Russo brothers are directing it, and it has the same screenwriters as Civil War.
Yeah.
So I have very hopeful for that then.
Well, they've said that they might there's even rumors one of those could be Thanos' Quest, which explains how he got the gems, which is a cool, I don't know if you've read Thanos' Quest, but it's a really cool miniseries if you can check it out. And I hope they do it because it'd be really cool. But it's super risky, but Marvel could pull it off, to be honest, at this point. So.
Yeah. Anything else to say about Civil War?
Vision in a sweater, perfection.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That was great.
I was not expecting that, but I was all about it. Fucking Scarlet Witch is OP in the MCU.
Very OP.
Like, holy shit.
What's
overpowered?
OP? Oh. Well, she's always been overpowered, though.
But, like, just fucking, like, destroying Vision and sending him, like, 20 stories down into, like, solid concrete. I'm just like, all right, then. That was a little much. It was a cool scene, but it was a little much.
I got the impression she didn't know she was going to do that.
Possibly.
Because seems like, I mean, from the beginning, she really doesn't know her powers yet.
Right.
Which is interesting.
I don't know much about Scarlet Witch, but I didn't think she was that powerful in the comics.
No, didn't she do that spell with? She's done some pretty big spell. Like, wasn't that spell?
Well, actually, wasn't she the one who did fucking House of M, the thing where like everything got fucked up? I don't know.
Yeah, I think she did.
Maybe she's underpowered in this then. I don't fucking know.
I mean, they're not going to do all the X-Men stuff because that's the MCU's biggest problem. Because I love X-Men, and I wish they had X-Men movies like the MCU does. Because I mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like some of the Fox X-Men movies, but I kind of would like if they're gonna do Dark Phoenix again, I would just prefer they do it like a trilogy, or really do Days of Future Past, or I don't even want them to do like is it Mutant Massacre or something, because that would just be awful. But like the MCU, they could really get into that.
I
But I
think
don't
Disney
think
needs to fork out some cash and do a thing, do another Sony with Fox.
well, there's always been the rumor that they've been asking, and that 20th Century Fox might be interested, because I think they're like, look, the MCU is so popular, it would actually help them, and I think they are apparently still worried, because they're like, hey, Deadpool worked out for us, but that was kind of almost like a fluke for them, it kind of just
Yeah,
happened.
considering that X-Men Apocalypse hasn't been getting good reviews so far.
Yeah, it's like I don't think they really know what to do. But they also, what the biggest thing with X-Men is, they need a new director. Like Bryan Singer's been doing it too long. He needs to pack it up, and like X-Men 2 was cool, and Days of Future Past and First Class were great, but he needs to pack it up, and they need a new person to run the X-Men universe, because I think it's just like he's been doing it way too long, and he's from a past era of superhero movies that we have long moved past. So,
That's true.
he was fine for a time, but come on.
Yeah, I mean, like the first X-Men was like the first modern superhero film.
Yeah, or I mean, some people count Blade, but I don't know.
I mean, I guess, sure, maybe, but like X-Men was the one
Yeah.
that started the whole thing, because after that was the Spider-Man movies, and the whole thing
Yeah.
kind of got started. So I would say X-Men is when it really like.
No, I agree. I'm just being counterpoint.
Well, fuck your counterpoint.
Sorry.
I'm right here.
All
Leave
right.
me alone.
No, you're right about X. Sorry, it's just Someone
Yeah,
in the
I'm
chat's
just
like,
giving you shit. You're my
Oh,
best
okay.
friend.
All right,
thank
you guys want to move on to Q&A?
Yeah. Should we
yeah.
get Saber?
Yeah, let me text him because he went offline.
I'm gonna go
A
pee, but
pleb.
I'll be right back, and then we'll do.
Okay. Yeah, so if you want to take a break,
Right
we will
back.
be right back.
After-
And if you
after
want to,
these messages.
yeah, if you want to ask questions, there are Twitter handles below. So we'll take a break real quick. We'll be right back.
Do it.
All right. I don't think Saber's coming back because I saw him on Discord playing Overwatch. So, we'll do a Q&A for a little
What
bit.
a piece of shit.
Yeah, we'll do Q&A for a little bit and then we'll close it out. So, ask your questions on Twitter and we'll answer them on Twitter, or not on Twitter, but on here.
Come on, Paley. You've been doing this for years. You should know how it works.
Let's
Um,
see.
I should probably open Twitter. That would be a good call.
Oh, who wants to go first?
Ooh,
You want, or
what?
should Bailey go first? Okay.
Here's an interesting question. What is the best cartoon to last 6+ seasons?
King
Powerpuff
of the
Girls.
Oh,
That's for
I would
me.
I would say King of the Hill.
Oh yeah, yeah. King of the Hill's really good.
King of the Hill stayed kisses. Or South Park.
Oh yeah.
Is Regular Show or Adventure Time up to that?
I think regular show's almost that.
Yeah.
I think it's on season 6.
So but
Season
I would
5 or 6.
I would say, but you know what? If you consider how most people say Simpsons was at least good till season 8, technically
Yeah.
that would work. But I would not say, I would maybe stretch it to 10. I think that's as far as I would go. I don't know about you guys. But.
Let's see. Will Warcraft have the same reflection as Ratchet and Clank as a video game movie? I don't think so.
No, I actually think it'll do well.
Yeah.
I know, I've read from a lot of movie reporters have been saying that a lot of movie studios are looking at how that does to determine if they're going to announce what they're doing with their video game properties.
Mhm.
And part of me thinks, since Nintendo has been saying that they want to work, don't they want to produce movies or
Yeah,
shows?
they want to make movies, and there's rumors about them working with Disney to make like animated movies.
Oh, so those Disney rumors are back, huh?
Yeah.
That those have been around for so long. But I think you'll hear more about a Nintendo movie possibly in. I don't have any insider information. This is just a guess. But I would think in like July if Warcraft does well. But if Warcraft does bombs or anything, it's gonna derail everything for a couple of years. But if it does really well, which I think it will, I think in July or August we'll be like, oh shit, it'll be like what everyone thought would happen after Deadpool will actually happen because everyone's like waiting. Like you're gonna have people hitting refresh on Box Office Mojo like demons that that weekend. You're like, where's the estimates? Rah!
Carlos Navarez asks, when will you get Some Call Me Johnny? If Pan can do it, so can you. I don't know who that is.
Oh, I met him.
Yeah, because I know that Nolan's like obsessed with him, but I've never like seen his content.
Nolan had a great time. He was very excited. No, yes, he's on the Next Pizza Party podcast, and he was cool. He was a nice guy. I wasn't as aware of him, but I watched this stuff before, so I don't know. Paleo should ask him. I'd be down to do another one with him. So I'm not against it. He's a nice dude.
Since Spider-Man was so great in Civil War, what is expected in his solo film?
I mean, I feel like we talked about that.
Yeah, we kind of did talk about it. I mean, I think Tom Holland's going to do great.
Yeah, so do I.
So, yeah.
I'm ready for a solo film.
Yeah.
Ready. And it's going to be next year. So that's great.
That's true. Oh, let's see. Gary or Mutant Astronaut asks, will New Mutants breathe life into the X-Men franchise with a new director? It's from the director of Fault in Our Stars. I'm actually a huge fan of the New Mutants run that Claremont did. Like, unbelievably, like, I bought all the issues when I was a kid kind of fan. So I think it'll actually be a good choice, and I like who they've cast as Rain Sinclair and who maybe cast as Magic, the girl from The Witch. But it sounds like what they're doing with it is cool, and it'll be like the early New Mutants, not the New Mutants with Cable, which is pretty much X-Force, so what's the point in doing New Mutants then? But I'm super excited. I'm gonna really geek out on that one if it's good. It's gonna be a lot of me going like, oh my god, I can't believe they got this character, and like no one else will care. But yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Thoughts on, or what are your thoughts on Comcast buying DreamWorks?
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah, Comcast they bought DreamWorks, and that means that Comcast now owns two animation studios because they own Illumination as well. Much
like Disney, actually.
Yeah.
Disney has Pixar, and thing now is the guy who owns Illumination is basically going to become what John Lasseter is at Disney, where he runs both studios. So that's what that guy's job is going to be. But they're still going to do the two different. There's going to be
Minions in all the DreamWorks movies.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. I know everyone's going to not love this. I would not be surprised if Shrek 5 gets announced sometime soon.
Wow.
Because they have new studio heads, they probably want to have a big hit with it. So I almost guarantee you'll hear some weird sequel or another Madagascar, or maybe even Minions and Shrek together.
Shrekians.
We'll see. I don't know.
It sounds like cancer. You just gave me cancer with that statement.
I don't know I don't think it's going to be great because they're not two studios I really love, So
I just hate Comcast, so
yeah,
anything that makes them big. Then they just like buy Time Warner or something.
No, they didn't buy.
Who bought Time Warner? Someone just bought Time Warner. I don't remember who it was.
Oh, I don't know.
It was Charter. I don't remember. Someone bought Time Warner.
Alec Greer asks, favorite Robot Chicken sketch?
Probably when M. Night Shyamalan comes on and goes, with a twist. That's
with a twist? No, what a twist.
What a twist. Oh, he
says with a lemon twist.
With a lemon twist, yeah, exactly.
What a twist. Yeah, I like the one where like Michael Jackson like comes back to Earth and like apparently the real Michael Jackson is actually a robot or like a
yeah. That was a funny sketch.
Yeah, Robot Chicken has a lot of great sketches.
Love and Sky asks, "What do you guys think about the new Battlefield being set in World War One?"
Oh yeah, I saw the trailer for that. That looks pretty cool. It's very different from everything that's been coming out for the past few years, so it's kind of refreshing.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
definitely the like shot in the arm that the big like blockbuster FPS genre needs right now. Just because Battlefield's been Battlefield, it's been modern, and then COD's been the futuristic kind of stuff, trying to be like Halo, but not
Yeah.
Halo, essentially. So this is definitely it's going back to Battlefield's roots because 1942 was World War II, and it's definitely more of like a gritty, sort of trying to be realistic for what it could be at the time shooter. So I think depending on how they handle it, it could be really cool. Just because you have to wear gas masks and there's going to be shit like that everywhere, like the trench warfare. It's definitely something that there really hasn't been a big World War One game
Yeah.
like ever. I can't think of anyone, especially not a shooter. So the trench warfare is going to be interesting for like stop and pop, which is the cover based mechanics has become so popular now. But it'll be interesting because COD and like 2 Degree Battlefield are very like frantic run and gun. But to do the trench warfare combat of World War One, it has to be slow. It has to be more methodical because the whole thing was that was such a ridiculous war because no one could gain any ground.
Yeah.
So it'll be you can't just be running up and like bunny hopping from trench to trench and stuff. It'll just be ridiculous. So I'm interested to see more gameplay and how they decide to like take World War One as a setting and adjust the gameplay of Battlefield for it.
More people are using World War One because even the Wonder Woman movie is set in World War One. So I think people are going like, well, we've kind of used up World War Two. I feel like people are just like a little sick of World War Two at this point. So they I think World War One's going to come more into it because there's just not enough people know very much about it.
Oh, we will soon. 10 years from now, we're going to be World War One experts.
Yeah. But I think that it seems to be. I've heard of more movies in development from World War One, so I think it's gonna make a huge comeback. I don't know, in a weird way. Sorry.
Yeah, isn't there that? Wait, no, that's about the Civil War, I think. That Matthew McConaughey movie that's coming out.
That's the Civil War.
Yeah, that's the Civil War movie. Anyway, here's a question. Another one from Alec Greer is thoughts on the Shallows trailer.
Oh, yes. I am curious. The audience I saw it with seemed to be like, "Fuck this! I've seen Jaws," was what I heard. But I think it seems cool. I think the thing with shark stuff is Jaws was like almost too good to let anybody else like have it.
Yeah.
Because it's like so iconic. Like almost every summer I watch it. And I know a lot of people actually are like, no, I watch it every summer. So
yeah,
I think
the thing that the Shallows reminded me of was like it reminded me of like something like Open Water, or or something like 127 Hours, because she's stranded.
Yeah, I mean the one thing I think that'll come out of it is if Blake Lively pulls it off, people will actually think of her as an actress, and I think most people. I mean, look, as great as she was in Green Lantern, I've never really thought of her as much of an actress. So I think, like, if she can pull this off, we're going to see her differently. But it comes out at the end of June, right around Independence Day resurgence, and right before July 4th weekend. Good luck with that shit, because that is, like, no one's really going to be seeing it. So I think they kind of are hoping it does better, but I would have put it out in July when there's like a little more there's not as many releases coming out all at once, but I hope the best. I'm gonna see it. I'm curious, so I don't know about you. Are you gonna see it?
I might see it depending on like
but you're gonna see
what else I'm seeing.
Depending on what you guys say will be if I go see it or not.
Oh, okay.
I have like a strict I only see like no more than 4 movies a year, so I got to pick my 4 carefully.
Oh, well, in that case, I wouldn't see this one. I would wait.
I've already used half my slots. I went to see Civil War. Doctor Strange is a lock for November.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess I have like 2 more movies I can go see this year. Maybe I should go see Ghostbusters just to shit myself laughing.
You didn't see Deadpool?
Oh, I did see Deadpool. I guess I have 1 more movie. Man, they're all superhero movies. I'm a fucking faggot.
Finding Dory.
You know, I'm gonna wait on that. My initial reaction was that they might be trying to milk this. So I don't know. It could be cool. I just don't know yet. So
Wait, didn't you see Zootopia?
I guess I'm done with movies this year.
So you've already seen your 4. Well, not Doctor Strange, but yeah.
All right, 2016. You got a few months. Something to make me more impressed than Doctor Strange.
You're gonna see Rogue One though, right?
If it's any good.
Are you worried about? Oh, because of the Godzilla. Yeah.
Look, it's made by fucking Faggy McHide Godzilla face. I don't want to support.
Oh, that's who's directing it.
Yeah, Garth Edwards.
That's the one thing. Every time I watch, I'm like, wow, that's a good trailer, and they go, "Don't fall for it, Jim. Don't do it again."
Right?
I'm just like, because I really like this first movie, but it's different, so I have some faith.
What I'm expecting, okay, to be honest, like, you know how near the end of the trailer for Rogue One, you like hear like Vader's like breathing like very softly as it like fades out. I feel like they're just gonna like have like Vader's boot come into shot like 3 times. Like, oh, we're gonna cut away from Vader. Like, it's the same thing. We all know what fucking Vader looks like. Stop being an asshole.
But I think in this one, like the one thing, well, it doesn't work because I tried to watch Godzilla again, and watching it out of the theater, all of the problems I had with it are magnified. You're like, God, this fucking movie. Like I watched it with my father-in-law, and we both fell asleep on the couch. It was because he was like, that wasn't very good, and I go, no, it was way worse the second time. But I think if the plot that's outside of seeing Darth Vader is good, it could be a good movie. But the problem with Godzilla is the plot outside of seeing Godzilla was like a kind of standard disaster movie, and that's like not really that interesting, you know?
Yeah.
So like, if the plot of Rogue One to me seems at this point interesting,
I feel like though, on the other hand, to play devil's advocate to my own point, is that like Disney paid a dick ton of money for this license. I feel like they wouldn't let something just kind of get shit out like that.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard that the one thing I heard a lot about Force Awakens is basically everyone they had on their payroll who was decent at story was given that script. And apparently that's what happens with the Star Wars at this point, because they don't have the faith they have in Feige. In no offense to Kathleen Kennedy, but all offense to her, I guess, is that they totally have been looking over those scripts like crazy, because they really, at this point, like, Feige has set a brand in motion, and Star Wars just is not there yet. But to my understanding, they've left Rian Johnson alone. But I got the impression Rogue One and Force Awakens, it's a different animal entirely. Like, they're really going like, let's get the Pixar. Apparently, the Pixar people have done a lot more work on it than we realize, is what I've heard. But
interesting.
That might just be they looked over the script and threw in a few lines, and it's not enough to credit them, you know. But also, Force Awakens went through so many rewrites. Like, Mark Hamill was supposed to be Luke Skywalker was supposed to be the Han Solo role for the first couple drafts. So, you know, who knows?
Yeah, like,
who knows whose involvement turned into what? You know what I mean?
Wasn't J.J. Abrams supposed to be directing like all of the new episodes?
From what I'm to understand, he was going to produce them, and Bad Robot was going to produce them all. And they kind of, what happened is, after he signed, a couple of things happened. One of them was Star Trek Into Darkness, and the other one was that they kind of, like, from my understanding on the making of the movie, which really deserves a really good book or documentary, which the DVD does not have, it's like a puff piece. There were a lot of problems in trying to get that movie to work, and they succeeded. It's a fun movie. I think most people like it, but they had a lot of problems on set, and they kind of realized, like, he's a guy who can start us off. He is not a guy who can do a whole franchise. Yeah. And although he has produced 2 good Mission Impossible movies that he did not direct, they felt that was enough for them, and they just got him out of there. They like pretty much killed it. because of concerns from Into Darkness and apparently the way he acted in meetings and such. Although Ryan Johnson, apparently they like him enough that he's still writing the next one, the episode 9, right? Yes, episode 9. Ryan Johnson is writing episode 9, but he's not directing it at this point.
So who's doing episode 8?
Ryan Johnson is.
Oh, okay.
So he's writing and directing 8. He's writing 9, but Colin Trevorrow is doing 9 if the internet doesn't kick him off first. But as of right now, he's
Colin
doing...
Trevorrow. Oh yeah, because he did Jurassic World, right?
Yeah. But the reason he, not to get, I know I'm like going on too long with this, but the reason he impressed them is because when Brad Bird was going to direct Star Wars and going to do basically finish Tomorrowland, and then have Trevorrow was going to run his pre-production for Star Wars, the producers went, who's this Colin Trevorrow guy? And that's how he got Jurassic World, and that's how he met all the Star Wars people. So that's why if you really want to blame anybody on what happened with Colin Trevorrow, it's Brad Bird, because he introduced him to everybody and made his career skyrocket because of that. And then he made Tomorrowland, so it really worked out for Brad Bird.
Okay, let's wrap it up.
Sorry I talked too long.
No, it's fine.
Jim, you're full of film knowledge that none of us have, and it's always interesting to hear all the little points be connected that you wouldn't otherwise know.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I just don't want to be too boring. Anyway, now I am going on too long. All right.
So we'll have another podcast in a couple weeks, I guess. Because I guess. Because I know Saber next weekend he's going to be at a con. So
Saber bailed this week. Fuck Saber Spark. Hashtag
well,
fuck
that's because he
Saber
hasn't seen Civil War yet.
Hashtag fuck Saber Spark. Hashtag Team Paleo. Hashtag not Team Saber.
Wait, so will we be back in 2 weeks or no?
Yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Okay.
It's just that this weekend, Saber's going to be at a con, so the following weekend we'll do the podcast the Monday after that weekend. So yeah, we'll be back on the 23rd. That is. Okay.
Okie doke.
And we'll talk about Angry Birds probably.
Yeah. Wait, when does that come out?
I think that's. Wait, hold on. Yep, that's the Friday before we would be talking about.
Oh, nice. The funny thing is, I looked up the ratings of that on Rotten Tomatoes. It's like 50-50 right now. So I'm like, oh, which way is this going to go?
Oh, jeez. Angry Birds. That's another one that studios are looking at for the video game thing. So
yeah. I think mainly if it's going to make a lot of money or not. It probably will. Just because it has more of a brand recognition than Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, well, it'll make more than Ratchet and Clank, but I don't know if it's going to do that well. But we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Later.
That's good. That was good.
And subscribe if you would like to.